Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 1, Unit 4.5 Notes, Day 2. Today we're talking about graphing linear inequalities in two variables. Our learn and target today is to be able to graph linear inequalities with horizontal and vertical line graphs on the XY coordinate plane, and to be able to write a linear inequality with two variables from a graph on the XY coordinate plane. So, just to let you know, not every inequality can be graphed on the coordinate plane has two variables, okay? Sometimes they have one. So reading the directions, it says to graph the following inequalities on the coordinate plane. We know that y is greater than or equal to -2. So just by looking at this, I don't know what my slope is right now. My y-intercept, well, my y-intercept, I'm not, because it's a special case. I'm not sure what to put there yet. But is it solid or dashed? That's when we're just looking at the inequality right here. Okay. That tells us that it is solid. And are we going to shade above or below? Well, it tells me that I'm going to shade above because that's what we were told. So let's find out. When we have a special case, we always recommend putting 3 points out to figure if it's horizontal or if it's vertical. Okay, so we know that y is -2 because it tells us right there. So that's where all those numbers come from. Now, I would pick one negative number, 0, and a positive number. And let's go ahead and graph this out. So we have the point -5, -2, 0, -2, and 5, -2. Okay, so that's a horizontal line. It's solid. And there we go. So now I think it's easier to answer some of these other questions. What's our slope? Well, it's a lazy line. A lazy line has a slope of 0. What's our y-intercept? Our y-intercept is 0, -2. Okay, that's right there. Okay, and now it says that we shade above. So I want to make sure that we go through and shade everything that is above the line. There we go. Okay, now remember that we talked about test points. We always want to test 0, 0. So the only thing we have is the y. So the y is 0. Is that greater than or equal to -2? And that's true. And see, look at right there. There's 0. Yay, we got it. Okay. We good? All right, let's move on. Number 2. We got y is less than 6. So we just did a y equals graph, so we know that our slope is 0. When we do our points over here, one of the points is 0, so it's going to be 0, 6. Now, is it solid or is it dashed? Well, it's going to be dashed because of our inequality right here. It's less than. So that's a dashed line. And do we shade above or below? We shade below. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this. Oh, we didn't pick our other points. I'm going to be lazy and use the same ones as our last one. -5, 0, and 5. Okay, so at -5, at -5 we're at 6, at 0 we're at 6, and at 5 we're at 6. And then I want to make sure that we draw a dashed line, and don't forget to add your arrows. Okay, now do we shade above or below? I'm not sure. Okay, That's, that's where the test point comes in handy right there. Okay? Remember, this is x, and that's why we can only plug in y. Is 0 less than 6? Yeah, it is. So that means that I got to make sure that 0 right there is shaded in. So I'm going to go through. And there we go. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at our next ones. All right, so it's saying x is less than or equal to 5. All right, so, oops, y. We're plugging in 5 for x each time. And I'm going to pick a negative, 0, and 5. Okay. So x is less than or equal to 5. I'm not sure with my slope or my y-intercept, so I'm just going to wait a second on that. I know it's a solid line, and it's less than. So if it's less than, that means I shade below, correct? All right, let's see what happens. So when x is 5, y is negative 5, and it's solid. When x is 5, y is 0. And when x is 5, y is 5. So there's my solid line. Oh, now I can answer some of these other questions. When it's a vertical line, our slope is undefined. I had to remember that. There is no y-intercept because it doesn't cross the y-axis. It's solid, but I can't shade below this line, okay? So we can't shade above or below. Well, where do we shade? Let's take a look at this. Okay, our test point is 0, 0. So is 0 less than or equal to 5? Yeah, that's true. Okay, so what that means, we have to, because it's less than, so less means left. Okay, so if it is less than, I'm going to shade the graph to the right. And there you go, special case. All right, let's do number 4. All right, our slope, well, our slope here is undefined. We know that now. Our y-intercept, there is no y-intercept. But now it's going to be solid or dashed. Well, for this one, it's going to be dashed. And I don't know which direction I'm going to shade yet. Okay. So there we go. We're plugging in 7. And I'm going to pick a negative, 0, and a positive. Now, guys, if you know right away that, hey, x is 7, and you know how to draw that graph, go ahead and do it. Okay. But we're going to have open points. And I've got x is 7, y is negative 5, x is 7, y is 0, x is 7, y is positive 5. Okay, so from here, we have a dashed line and our arrows. Okay, now, where am I shading? Let's plug in our test point. Is 0 greater than 5? No, that's false. Okay, so 0 cannot be in my answer. So I can't shade it to the left. I have to shade it to the right. Okay, so I can't shade above or below. Greater than means we shade right. Okay, So for this one, you're going to shade everything to the right. And there you go. All right, let's flip it over. I want you to pause the video and do these three all on your own. Okay? Good luck. Okay, and there are my three answers. Remember, if it's an x equals, okay, x is vertical, y is horizontal. All right, and now x is less than or equal to, so it's solid, and we shade to the left. Number 6, it is greater than, it's a dashed, and we shade above. And number 7, x is greater than 2, it's dashed, and it's to the right. Okay? So now what we're going to do is now we're going to work backwards for these things. Okay? We've got a graph, but I don't know what the inequality is. Okay? So the first thing that we need to ask ourselves is, what is the slope? Okay? So I'm going to come onto the graph. You should just be going from one point to another and count. I go up 3, I went right 2. So my slope is 3/2. Okay. What's the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is 0, -4. So 0, -4. Do we have a solid or dashed line? Well, you tell me, look at the line. What is it? Solid or dashed? It's dashed. And did they shade above or below? They shaded below. Okay. So this information right here, these two guys tell you what your symbol is. It's dashed, so that means it can only be less than or greater than. But it's below, so that means we're using this symbol. Okay? So when we put all of this together, we have y is less than our slope, which was 3/2x, and then our y-intercept, which is -4. Okay? Let's take a look at our next one. Okay? The first thing is, what is the slope? So from here to here, we went down 2, right 2. And you always want to ask yourself, can you reduce that? Yeah, it's a -1. Okay? Our y-intercept is right there. That is the point 0, 1. So is it solid or dashed? It's solid, and then they shade above or below? Below. So if it's solid, that means there's the or equal to symbol beneath it, and it's below, so that's our symbol. Okay? So we have y is less than or equal to -1x, and our y-intercept +1. Okay? I'll do one more of these with you, and then you guys get to do 11 and 12 on your own. Okay? So remember, you need to know the slope from one point to another. You go down 3, right 2. So our slope is -3/2. You need to know the y-intercept. Okay? It's that point right there. It's 0, 3. Okay? So the next thing you need to ask yourself, is it solid or dashed? Well, looking at it, it's dashed. And did they shade above or below? Above. So if it's dashed and they shaded above, that's the is greater than symbol. So putting all of that together, we have y is greater than negative 3 over 2x plus 3. Okay? All right. Why don't you pause the video and see if you can do 11 and 12. Okay? Pause the video and good luck. Okay, and there we go. For number 11, our slope was 1/5. Our y-intercept was negative 2. It had closed points, so it's a solid line, and they shaded above. So we get y is greater than or equal to 1/5 x minus 2. And then for number 12, it's a horizontal line. If it's horizontal, I know it's a y equals. Okay, we just wrote that up here. Okay, for number 6, it was horizontal, so it was a y. Same thing with number 12. Okay, it's dashed and they shaded below, so that's the is less than symbol. So y is less than 3. Now, if you have any questions or need extra help, please come find Ms. Carranza or myself. Otherwise, that's it for Algebra 1, Unit 4.5 Notes, Day 2. Thanks for watching.